The Somali language. It has a lot of sounds that sound like Arabic, and Somalia is in the Arab League of Nations. And in some ways, it does look like the Somali people have a similar culture to the Arabs. But is Somali Arabic? In this episode of the podcast, we're going to find out. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. This is your Arabic teacher Sam, and a very warm welcome back to another episode of the podcast. This is episode 40, and we're talking about the Somali language and whether it is Arabic or not. Because this is something that confused me a little bit, because when I was at uni, I remember meeting Somali people, and then I also remember seeing in my Arabic studies that Somalia was a country that was in the Arab League of Nations, and I didn't quite get it. And it turns out that Somali is another big passion of mine now, all these years later. In fact, I have another YouTube channel called the Sam of Somalia channel. You know, a lot of you guys maybe don't even know about that, but that's actually much bigger than this channel. It's maybe 3 or 4 times the size of the audience that I have with my Arabic stuff, even though it kind of seems like the Arabic stuff's my main thing. And so I thought this would be a really cool time to actually talk about this. Episode 40, big round number. And last week as well, because of the whole world basically being on lockdown, I created a new product called Somali on Lockdown, which is basically a bundle of Somali language resources for people to use at home to learn Somali, and they're particularly engaging and good for kids. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, you can see all of them up behind me. This is where I keep all of them, because I use them with my children as well. And speaking of my children, if you can hear anything, then I'm watching my son Yusuf at the moment. He's sitting right there, about 2 meters away from me, just playing while I'm doing this episode of the podcast. And as this is a bit of a longer bit of content because it's a podcast, you probably hear him at some point or another. But I have told him that to be on his best behaviour, and he's supposed to be just playing and not telling me to take him to the toilet or telling me to get him juice or anything. He should be on his best behaviour. So anyway, let's get into it, inshallah. So the structure of this a little bit will be just some of my ramblings about the things I find so fascinating about Somali and about Arabic. And we'll kind of delve into a load of words that Somali and Arabic share and how similar the two languages are. And so all of you who are watching this will come away with it knowing about 20 words in Somali, which gives me great pleasure that there will be Arabic students walking around who also can build bridges with Somali people a little bit as well when they meet and say, oh, these words exist in your language too, right? So it is obviously true that Somalia is in the Arab League of Nations, but to be honest, that when you know Somalis, that's pretty bizarre, really, and it seems to just be for political reasons why that is the case. But because Somali isn't even part of the same close family as Arabic. Even though it sounds a bit like it is. But both of them are Afro-Asiatic languages, but they're not of the same family, right? Like, so they kind of have the same great-great-grandfather, but not the same grandfather, right? Arabic's obviously a Semitic language, and in that family has cousins like Hebrew and Aramaic. But Somali is a Cushitic language rather than a Semitic one. And it only has a few cousins. There's a language called Oromo, and that's about it. There are a couple of others, but really small ones, just confined to the Horn of Africa. So Yusuf, nice and quiet, please, Daddy, or you're going to be in trouble. I've told you this. You know the rules. Anyways, so they are of different families, really, right? Cushitic and Semitic. Another thing that confuses people is that a lot of Somalis are Arabic speakers. Like I remember when I first started studying Somali at university, a lot of people kind of bounded around that like 70% or 80% of Somalis can speak Arabic too. That, in my experience, is complete nonsense, really. Like, actually, in Somalia itself, there's not really any reason for people to learn to speak Arabic. Yeah, so you'll meet a lot of Somalis who speak Arabic, but it's not because they learn Arabic in Somalia, right? Like beyond madrasa and Islamic education, people don't speak Arabic like in the street and stuff, right? Like Somali is the language that people speak in Somalia. But a lot of people, before they come to Europe, they go via a Middle Eastern country. Like a lot of the Somalis, including my in-laws, they moved to Saudi Arabia, and then they came to the UK, and that's why they speak Arabic. Or people might move to Egypt first, then come to the UK, or to Qatar, or to Kuwait, or or another Arab country before they come to the UK or Canada or the USA or whatever. And that's really why. Another thing that I think is an interesting point to mention is that the two languages are kind of similar in that they both kind of evolved in a very nomadic environment. Like a lot of the things that Somali has, vocab-wise and grammar-wise, that's related to culture of the desert, it shares with Arabic, which I think is really interesting as well. Like in Arabic, there is a book called Kitabul Ibl, which has about 400 words for camel in, and Somali has probably similar to that too. There's lots of things that are kind of obviously for the desert that that Somali shares. But unlike Arabic, Somali, unfortunately for us as people live in these times, doesn't have like a strong written culture historically. There's a very, very oral oral culture, which just means that unfortunately we don't have access to be able to say whether the same sort of descriptions of the desert and stuff are used in Somali literature as there are in Arabic. We do a bit. We do have some Somali literature. Just so much of it has been oral. Like it's kind of so Somali's situation is kind of what Arabic would have been like if it wasn't for Islam. Do you know what I mean? Like because of Islam, and the need to write down the Quran and other important religious stuff. Because that didn't happen in Somali. A lot of literature and stuff may be lost, and we can't really do a comparative study in that way. But anyway, so what we'll do is let's run through like 15 words that I've found, that I just prepared quickly, of words that are shared with Arabic. Because there's pretty strong evidence, right? That like there's pretty strong evidence that Somali is actually older than Arabic, which is really interesting. So I always deliberately say that Somali shares with Arabic rather than it borrowed from Arabic. We often kind of make the assumption that Somalis became Muslims and then they adopted a load of their language, but it's not always necessarily that way round, necessarily, right? Good, so the first word that I have written down is the word for cat, bisat. So Somali, those of you Somalis who are listening to this, I know you have other words like yan, yur, and mukulel, and basho. There are the four main ones that I know of in Somali. But the word bisat is one that you use in Somali, but particularly in the north of Somalia. But bisat is one that comes from Arabic, or it's shared with Arabic. There's a word bisse, spelled ba, sin, and then with a ta marbuta at the end. Bisse, plural of which is bisas, I believe. And it means a cat. It's not the most common word, like Somali. Arabic has a few words. Obviously, we all know the word hurayra. That's kind of the small kitten version of another word for cat in Arabic, and the word qitta as well. So there's at least three right there that we know of. But bisat is a word that's in Somali, and it's also in Arabic too. You more commonly hear it in dialects actually, where people just say bisse. Like I know in Palestine, when I was studying in Palestine, that they call a cat a bisse, and that's just an Aramiya-ified version of bassetun, which I think is the actual Arabic word. Next is the word lakin. Obviously we have lakin and walakinna in Arabic, and lakin is used in Somali to mean but. And I thought that was interesting as well, because like when languages borrow vocabulary, it looks like, and it seems most obvious, that it would just be for nouns. Do you know what I mean? Like when you refer to a particular noun as something, that you would borrow those from other languages. We obviously have loads of them in English. One that just comes to my head is just the word fiancé, for example. Like that's obviously taken from French. But like to actually have like conjunctions and grammar and ways to conjugate verbs and stuff that are borrowed between the two, I think is quite interesting. I don't know if any linguists out there can comment in the comment section below if you're watching this on YouTube, or just or if you're listening to this on the podcast. Come over to the YouTube channel sometime and comment on this for me. So so lakin is shared with Arabic too. Next one is a verb, the verb akhri. Those of you who know Arabic or know the verb qara'a are probably starting to just piece that together anyway. And sometimes Somali does spell it aqri with a Q as well, aqri. But yeah, akhri, it means to read. It's the verb to read, akhri. But you usually spell it with a KH though, akhri. And that seems like, although it's not completely clear, is it? But it seems pretty obvious that the word to read in the two languages is akhri and qara'a. They certainly seem to be very close. Speaking of reading and writing, the word qalin is the Somali word for a pen. Obviously in Arabic you have qalamun, and it's a habit of Somali that if a word has a meme in it in Arabic, it will become an N in Somali. I'm trying to think of another example. if another example comes to me, then I'll say it. But that's a common kind of way that Somali adjusts Arabic words when it brings them into Somali. Another very common thing that Somali does is if there's a T in Arabic, it will become a D in Somali. That's really common. Like the word for salah, the prayer, salat. Somalis call it salad with a D at the end, salad. If you ever go to Somali restaurants, at the time for the salah, you'll hear people, they always say salad, salad, salad. They always clap with it as well, salad, salad, salad. That's something you'll hear. My mother-in-law always says that at salah time. In my in-laws' household, you don't hear the adhan, you hear salad, salad, salad. Anyways, so the next one, this is really clearly shared with Arabic, al-bab, al-bab, which means door, right? But the thing about that is Somali has taken the Arabic definite article as well, right? Like the Arabic word is just bab to mean a door, but al-bab means the door in Arabic, but al-bab just means a door in Somali. And to make it the door in Somali, you need to put ka on the end, so al-babka means the door. Like if you, al-babka. If you want to tell someone to close the door, al-babka mahrikata. Like, can you close the door? Al-babka mahrikata. Al-bab is one that's quite obviously. I don't know of any other words in Somali like that. It kind of reminds me of how in Spanish you have loads of words that begin with al, and they're obviously remains of Arabic from Al-Andalus when Spain and Portugal were ruled by Arabs. Because there's lots of words in Spanish that share that, like the word alfombra in Spanish meaning a rug, I think, or albondigas, like meatballs. They're all words that are remnants of Arabic. It kind of reminds me of how Spanish does that. The next word is a word that Somalis all know, right? Like all Somalis use it, but even Somalis themselves don't often associate it with being something Arabic because it's such a rare word in Arabic. So Arabic, to say to drink in Arabic, there's obviously the verb shariba, but there's also a verb abba. But abba means to gulp something. Like you're not just kind of sipping on a drink, you're gulping something. If you're already thirsty, is to abba something, and the verb ab in Somali is to drink. Right? It doesn't mean to gulp if you're thirsty in Somali. It's just the normal verb to drink. But ab is actually shared with Arabic. That could be an example of one that actually comes to Arabic from Somali. It could be, or just from a shared ancestor as well. It could be. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? So ab. But there are people in Somalia, particularly in the north, I think, who will use the verb sharab instead of ab. But ab is the main one that I've had. Next example is the verb isti'mal. Isti'mal. Obviously in Arabic there's a form 10 verb ista'mala, meaning to use, and isti'mal is in Somali too. It's quite funny how so in Arabic, right, we have the verb ista'mala in Arabic, and its masdar, its verbal noun is isti'mal, right, in Arabic. But in Somali they take the verbal noun and then they conjugate it in their own ways, right? So you have the verb isti'mal in Somali, but you use it. You don't change it the way you do in Arabic, right? You say like one isti'malaya, I am using something in Somali, right? You take the verbal noun and then you put like Somali stuff on the end to conjugate it. It's that's pretty interesting to me. I don't know how that comes about. Wahan isti'malaya. I'm using qalin kawan isti'malaya. You know, I'm using the pen, for example. Next one, the word kursi. Kursi exists in Somali. Often for words that have likely come from Arabic into Somali, there'll often be an original Somali word as well, but kursi is by far the most common. So sometimes when you have words like this, often when you have Somali words like this that are quite clearly from Arabic, you'll have like a Somali plural and an Arabic plural, which is quite interesting, you know, like, and you can use either of them. So it's common in Somali to make words plural just by adding an O on the end, right? And kursiyot is the way to say chairs in Somali. But sometimes Somali we use the Arabic plural, which is kuras as well. So sometimes you'll have words like that have two plurals, and that Somalis will use a Somali one or an Arabic one, and they've both become Somali. Next, this is an interesting bit of etymology here. So the word Arab means a tongue, but obviously it's got roots shared with Arab, with with the Arabs, right? But Arab, yeah, it means a tongue. I don't know if there is. I mean, we know that in the Arabic language, that root has something to do with eloquence. Like there's a verb a'raba, which is kind of about expression and stuff. There's a verb for that in Arabic, but it's interesting that's come into Somali too. Araba, it means a tongue. Although, yeah, kind of a little bit of a tangent on that, but an interesting point is that in Somali, when you talk about the Somali language, it's really common in English and in Arabic too to talk about a language as a tongue, right? Like, even in the Quran, Allah refers to the languages of the world as al-sina, as the tongues. But in Somali, when you talk about the Somali language, they don't say like Arabka Somaliga. They don't say the Somali tongue. They say Afka Somaliga. They say the Somali mouth, right? Because a mouth is an af in Somali, right? Yeah, which is interesting. I don't know why they refer it to a mouth. I don't know if that's indicative of what the language sounds like or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, next one is the word sahib. Anyone who knows any level of Arabic really will probably know the word sahibun in Arabic, and yeah, it means a companion or a friend. Somali will use it as more casually, like he's your friend. Sahib Kay Mag'iso wa Yunus. My friend, his name's Yunus. But like yeah, I suppose in Arabic that is true as well. Actually, I was just thinking, like in Arabic you have the word sadiq to mean a friend, and sahib, it might kind of, but because it's used for the companions of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it might be seen as a little bit more archaic or a little bit more classical, maybe, to describe people as your companions. But in Somali, it doesn't mean companions, it just means your friend, right? It is used casually to mean your friend. Next, the word masajid. Masajid. Obviously, in Arabic, there's the word masajid, meaning mosques. But in Somali, they've taken the plural, and it just means one mosque, right? Masajid means a mosque in Somali. Again, I don't know how that comes about. I don't know how it comes about that you end up taking a broken plural of a word and making that the singular in your language. I don't know how that comes about. And to be honest, it seems quite clear to me that is one that's come from Arabic, right? I don't think that shares an origin, because yeah, I don't think that shares a common ancestor, and I don't think it's something that could have come from Somali into Arabic. I mean, just because it seems obvious that it's a word that would come into Somali because of Islam, which came from the Arabs to the Somalis. But also, like, it doesn't line up with the word to pray or anything in Somali, which is duko or tuko, depending on what dialect you speak. But tuko or duko are the words for praying. But masajid quite clearly seems to come from Arabic. Next, we only have a few more left. But next is the word ahmaq. Ahmaq is an Arabic word, obviously, and it just means a stupid person. An ahmaq, someone's an idiot, then they're a big ahmaq. Somali has another term, which is na'as, which is pretty rude. To call someone a na'as is pretty rude. In fact, I'm a little bit uncomfortable even saying it in front of my son, but he knows it, and he knows that I'm just saying it for the sake of the video. But yeah, ahmaq exists in Somali as well. But na'as, I don't believe that. If any of you know if that exists in Arabic, then let me know, please, because I'd be interested in that. We've only got 3 more left. So another one is daqiqat. Daqiqat, which exists in Somali. That's an example of how I was telling you how if something exists in Arabic with a T, that'll often become a D in Somali. So daqiqatun, obviously in Arabic meaning a minute, becomes daqiqat in Somali. Next one. I sometimes get in trouble for this one, but it's something that people always pick up on. Like people with any level of Arabic, when I teach them about this in Somali, they always pick up on it. So it's not just me who picks up on it. So we'll mention it anyway. The word nag in Somali means a woman. Okay. However, the word for a she-camel in Arabic is a naqatun, is a naqa, and I quite often, just whenever I've mentioned that word meaning a she-camel, naqatun, whenever I've mentioned the word nag meaning a woman, people always make that connection, even when they're unprompted by me, right? So I thought I'd mention it. Like I think that's a complete coincidence, right? Like I don't believe that the word naqa to mean a she-camel came to the Somalis and they thought that's what we'll call our women. I don't think anything like that happened, right? But it's just a coincidence, right? There's a word nag and then naqa. Yeah, because the word for a she-camel in Somali isn't a naqa, it's a hal. Hal is a naqa in Somali. And then the last one is the word qali. Qali. It's from ghali. That's another very common sound change. That if a word has a ghain in it in Arabic, it will become a qa in Somali. Because Somali has a qa, it has a ha, it has a a, but it doesn't have a ghain. Yeah, it doesn't have a ghain. Qali. Qali meaning expensive, meaning the opposite of rakhis. Yeah, but back to the word. On that note, back to the word qalin, meaning a pen. It's interesting that Somalis have taken that word into their language because they already had the word qalin to mean something in Somali. Like in Somali, qalin means silver. But now when you say silver, you usually say qalin qali, right? You say like qalin. You say like You say like valuable. Like valuable qalin, right? Because a qalin normally just means a pen. But Yusuf, yeah, you can, but please, Yusuf, stop. I've nearly finished this episode now, but you need to stop. No, not a hug now. When I finish, you can have a hug. Alright, come here, we'll have a hug. Come here, Daddy. Yusuf, you've not got any trousers on. I was going to put you on my lap, but you've not got any trousers on. Yeah. Yusuf, put your trousers on, please. Look. Yusuf, stop here. Put your trousers on, please, young man. They're in the bathroom still, I think. Can you do something for me? Yeah, just a minute. I'm just going to finish this episode and then we'll play. Okay, anyways, let's wrap this up. That is everything for this. I haven't got anything else left to say, so I'd best go and help out my son, inshallah. I'm not sure what he wants me to do for him, but he's... Those are your trousers. Yeah, put those on, please. Or wait a second, I'm just going to wrap this up and then I'll help you put your trousers on. You want to come stand next to me? Yeah. Okay. Can you do this? All right, everybody. Yusuf, let me say bye-bye. Do you want to say bye-bye? Bye-bye. Okay, good boy. You say nabad geliyor. Nabad geliyor. Well done. Or ma'a salama. Ma'a salama. Good boy. Cool. Okay, right, that's it, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. You guys take care. Stay safe.
My name is Yusuf, and I run around all day, and they just don't. Was I act weird? Look.
I think that's enough. Yusuf, why haven't you got your trousers on?